welcome back to this series exploring the co-production of sustainable food supply chains. That is a Belmont Forum funded project. I am Ashley Colby, your host, and I am doing this video series on behalf of SCORI, the Sustainable Consumption Research and Action Initiative. And we're sort of playing the role of communicator, science communicator, and doing a first series of interviews on the sort of background of all the different hubs in this project. For a little bit of background information, for those of you who are seeing this video as the first, there are 5 hubs in this project that's focused on sustainable food supply chains: Germany, Turkey, Thailand, Taiwan, and Sweden. And today I am here with the German team, Sarah and Ava. They're going to introduce themselves, and we're going to talk a little bit today about the German hub, how the project is designed, who's involved, and what everyone's greatest hopes and dreams for the duration of the project will be. So welcome. Sarah, I'll have you go first, introduce yourself, and then Ava.
Yeah, okay. Hello, everyone. I'm Sarah. I'm working at the Institute for Technology Assessment and System Analysis at KIT here in Karlsruhe since 13 years. I do mainly research and like transformation work with the society on a kind of local level. So I was dealing a lot with canteens and other actors in the food sector in the last years. And from my studies, I'm an environmental scientist.
Mm-hmm. Thanks. Ava?
I'm also an environmental scientist, so we are both actually geoecologists. And I've been working at ETAS since 2017. I started actually with life cycle assessment there, and then I switched to the group of the Karlsruhe Center of Transformation, CAT in German it's called, and for more interactive research with citizens for sustainable development. And yes, I'm also part of now this project focusing on food supply chains.
Great. Let's remind those listeners or viewers who haven't, maybe they're seeing this video for the first in the series. How is the general project structured, this overall project, and then we can talk about the specific German case.
So we are looking at different food supply chains in different countries. So in each country we have a specific area where we have some practice partners involved, and yes. So the thing is that we are trying to, or we will support each other to build up sustainable food supply chains, and also trying to analyze it in a sustainability assessment after that, or while doing so. And very important, it's a co-creation, so it's very important that our practice partners are involved, and also that we work together as a team with so many different perspectives and experiences.
Mm-hmm. Anything to add, Sarah?
Maybe just a little bit to add. So in the different hubs, they focus on different products. So some are more on veggies, some are more on legumes, and like also one partner has more focus on agroforestry, so the mix of photovoltaic and agricultural production. And also some hubs maybe look more on the consumer aspect of restaurants, for example, or hotels, and some go really up to the end consumer. And also in Turkey, it's more about also the local governments and all this in this food and food sector, how the local governments can support, and this called Ernährungsräte in Germany. It's like these food courts which are developing, and also to build up these in different cities there.
Wonderful. I would just say from my perspective, my background is in studying local food systems. And so what drew me to this project is it's such an interesting, it has built into the design such interesting and thoughtful ways of co-creating, of working in a transdisciplinary way to try to sort of share best practices across geographies, but also sort of being able to translate as researchers between research speak and then local practice partners who, you know, I think the way that the project is designed is to really make practice partners an equal, you know, participant in the project, in the sense that they are sort of working together with the researchers to identify, you know, sustainability assessment, this governance, cooperative governance models, and then just really envision what is possible to attempt to transform within their specific case, you know, their context, whichever is the scope of their own project, and have the researchers, there's this kind of like lending the power of the research, you know, the attention, the resources, to help them transform the food supply chain. So I think that's really great, because a lot of times in research, there can be this kind of extractive model where the researcher is just collecting data and they publish it and it doesn't help anyone, and they say it's going to help people, but it doesn't really. So I was really attracted to this project for that reason, with the local focus. You know, the focus is really hyper specific to an area that has a culture, that has real people and ongoing relationships with researchers, which I think is just really wonderful. So my 2 cents from, you know, from a kind of outsider perspective, why I think this is a great project. Okay, so let's talk a little bit in detail on the German project. Who tell us, you know, a little bit what your focus is, what focus area of the supply chain you're focusing on, and then maybe we can talk a little bit about the practice partners and go into some more detail with the practice partners after.
Yeah. So in Germany, we have exactly like more or less 2 universities belonging to the project. So it's Arne Wieck in Freiburg, University of Freiburg, professor there, and also in Karlsruhe, the Karlsruhe team. And we have different practice partners, and the focus here in Germany is more on vegetables, but also a little bit on sunflower oil and legumes. And we found, or we already had a relationship with our main practice partner, which is called Food Circle, here in Karlsruhe before. And we are really happy and proud that they entered the project with us. They are still developing, but they are really interesting vision they have, and a really interesting group of people. And they want to be kind of this intermediary in the food chain, where the local products from the farmers are collected and then distributed to the end consumer, but also to the bigger consumers, to the canteens, where also kind of manufacturing can take place, but also education about the food sector. And they are already working on a really close relationship with the farmers, so that they can exchange the knowledge and also the plannings for the next season. So what should be produced, what is missing in the area. And now they're also working on what is needed for the canteen. So kind of pre-prepared slices of potatoes, for example, that these are existing, or that the salad is already washed and so on, because this is sometimes the missing link, that organic local food is not ready prepared for the bigger canteens, and so they just order the conventional food. And so they are dealing with all these issues, and just starting with this, but the group is existing since a few years, and they already have funded other existing like catering services for schools, and also educational projects. So they are, they know what they are doing.
One point of clarification, and then I will see if Ava has anything to add, but canteens, that's not really a word. Well, it exists in English, but it's not, I don't think, what we call, is this like cafeterias in schools or hospitals? Like what is it? That is what that is. Okay.
Yeah, sorry, yeah, it's for all kind, like in companies, for the school children, in the kindergarten, like everything out of your house where you can eat
Hey,
and it's not a restaurant.
yes.
This is normally,
Yeah, and that's
yeah.
an interesting focus area because that a lot of times I think, well, at least in the United States context, in these kind of more public cafeterias, even if they're in a business, it's so mass produced. You know, they just want to get some sort of giant mass produced, usually the cheapest possible food, especially in schools. It's just sort of like, what can they get in bulk with low prices? And so focusing on that scale is really interesting because it's not just the consumer for their home, it's also you could potentially be getting institutions to purchase food on this local food or regionally produced food, on a little bit of a bigger scale than just the household scale. So that's great. Ava, do you have anything to add, clarification points about the German hub?
Yeah, maybe also a very important and interesting part is with the communication. So as I already said, that Food Circles is kind of analyzing and bringing together the people who are needed to serve like a more sustainable and more region, which also means more regional supply of food, and that also means a lot of communication. So to connect for example, the farmers with the cafeterias, so that they get to know each other in the region, because mostly it's only that the big suppliers are known, and so they don't know from each other. And so and there's a huge part is playing is communication.
Yeah, I love that. It's this is a similar experience I've had in many different parts of the world. There's so many sort of independent local food system actors, and there's not a lot of opportunity for them to necessarily formally associate with one another. So it's nice to have a place where they can come together and sort of get to know one another. And is there an already existing cooperative in the Karlsruhe case study? Because I know that Freiburg will have a different case study that's not yet fully developed. But is there a cooperative already existing or plans for the cooperative aspect of the project?
I mean, there is a Solavi CSA existing, but has nothing to do with the Food Circle right now. But Food Circle is also kind of, from their legal structure, they are aiming for such a kind of cooperative, so that people can buy shares and like they can also be part of it.
Okay.
Yeah, I just wanted to add that Food Circle is using this knowing each other also for being a bit more resilient, so that the farmers, if they know they have produced too much, or they can see that they will produce too less, they can hand on this information, and then the canteens, they can better deal with it, because if there's an overproduction of some vegetables, they can deal with it much more easier than the end consumer, who does not want to do with 200 kilograms of
Yeah, that's great. That's
or whatever.
yeah, and
So,
then yeah, I think just thinking about how it would lower the risk on the individual farmer to overproduce or underproduce for a season, but instead, if you have these networks that are in communication, you can kind of adjust for those differences per season, and the risk doesn't just only fall onto the farmer. Okay, so let's talk about what are your sort of hopes for transformation? We're a couple of months into the project, so it's still like sort of at the beginning stages, but in your conversations with Food Circle, what are they dreaming about? What are your hopes? I guess let's start with just for the course of the project, which is only 3 years, and then we'll talk a little bit more about the broader food system, local food system in your area.
Eva, do you want?
Yes, I can try to start. So yes, it would be really nice to see the actually the thriving of Food Circles. So it will be built up and will get a bit bigger, so it's more known, and also can be used, so that people will know about it, and also that more and more farmers are involved from the region to prepare and to supply their food, and also that private customers also have the chance to get the connection to what does it mean, or also experience what does it mean to have more sustainable and more regional food there, and also have the appreciation for what actually does it mean to have food like this.
Yep. Anything to add, Sarah?
Yeah, I mean, it's to mention that they are not physically operating right now. So there are no vegetables going from A to B right now. So this is, of course, a big hope, because they have a kind of sponsor who is willing to offer them a place where they can operate and have their kitchen and storage space. So this, of course, will be a big magic moment if they start really that they can sell stuff and deliver stuff. And the other thing is, like Eva a little bit told, my hope is also that this will kind of encourage more farmers also to become organic. Also, of course, make it much more easier for canteens to buy organic in these bigger samples. And so, I mean, Karlsruhe is already such a kind of organic city. There's kind of a label, so they want to increase the share, of course. But I guess food sampling could really be an important step towards this goal for Karlsruhe to make it
Wonderful.
possible.
Yeah. What are some of your biggest worries? This project, it's big. That the German hub at KIT is sort of the lead organizing group. So it's hard to sort of, just navigate a big international project like this with, 5 different teams around the world. And so, just what are your worries, I guess, both for the German hub and just for the project overall?
I can start if you like. Since we are located quite far away from each other from our project partners, so this is definitely a challenge to find our good way of communication. So we hope that we will see each other, for example, next year in Thailand, or where we will visit the partners there and meet some people there. But we are relied on a weekly or monthly meetings together to communicate in a good way and to share what's happening. And I also hope really for our our project partners that their practice partners are also staying with them, and that there is also happening good communication. So
I think for me, the local focus is really nice, but then, I think it's just sort of hard to translate local findings so easily, especially because if you have an ongoing project like this, like so much is happening, it's hard to even capture it all. I do think that what we're doing with these videos and communication across the project is interesting and innovative, and even helpful within the project for people to keep abreast of what's going on in everybody else's local community. And yes, I think I agree with the practice partner. You don't want to be extractive of people's time. You want to be useful, so it should be a partnership where it's mutually beneficial. But everybody's time, especially in organic and local food, everybody's time is so limited. So just keeping those relationships, I think, and just being mindful, working around their schedules, I think is good. Okay, so I guess big picture, wrapping up, I mean, why is this research important? What is the point of sustainable local food supply chains? What are our great hopes for local food system transformation. You know, why'd you get into this project basically? Why is it important, and what are our long-term visions and dreams? Maybe I'll make Sarah go first this time.
Yeah, I mean, my hope is, or I think that such an organic, local, resilient food system solves so many problems for us and our world. So it's good for the environment, it's good for our health, it produces good jobs in the area. So I think I just hope that people can see these, positive aspects, and that we can, first of all, with the project, we can realize some of this sustainable food supply chain, so that people can see, okay, it's possible and how it's possible. So we work on the hard things which are not so sustainable. And yeah, then I just hope that more people will follow this path, and that it's also maybe easier to create more sustainable food supply chains for the future, also if new ones are developed, because the people know a little bit where to be careful and maybe how to make it better in some parts.
Yeah. Eva, anything to
I
add?
can add to that. It's actually it's super interesting that we have those different perspectives and experiences from different cultures, from different backgrounds, and so I think it's a huge blessing that we are here together working for the same goal, and I'm really looking forward to learn from each other and also support each other in this path. And yeah, I think it will be challenging sometimes, but also really interesting to work together.
Yep. And for me, I think just thinking about, I think a lot of people in the world of environment and sustainability, a lot of times are inundated with some just constant bad news. And so thinking about like local inspiring stories, local case studies where there are going to be specific aspects to those case studies that are specific to that place, but then there's going to be general principles that come out of each case study, and hopefully they bring some inspiration to people and to other researchers and to other, you know, food systems around the world. And then, you know, this can sort of inform the global. And I really like there's a kind of resistance to the, you know, homogeneous global food system, to make these local specific food systems that are particular to this culture and place. And then we can, you know, draw on some really inspirational examples. So I love that part of it. Okay, so thank you both so much. We'll be following along with your study as the research project and the transformation over the next 3 years. Anything else you want to say that we didn't cover in the interview?
Thank you for asking us and publishing this, Ashley.
No problem.
Yeah, asking the right questions.
Yes.
Thank you both.